All right, guys, RossCoulthart's Reality Check. He interviews a man at the Bradshaw Ranch. Apparently a lot of paranormal activity is there, UFOs, all kinds of stuff, right? I don't know this guy. I think his name is Tom. I'm not going to pronounce his last name. I'll have everything linked down below. You guys check it out. There's a particular part of this interview I want you guys to listen to. Go check out the whole thing. All the information will be in the description. You could click that. It'll take you directly to the video. But there's a part here where this man says that he has seen a UFO and lights going around the UFO, and these lights are repairing the ship. I know it sounds absolutely... I'm not going to say the word. But it just, it's repairing the ship. He says it looked as though it was damaged. Maybe it was hit by a missile or something. But these lights were repairing the ship. You guys like and subscribe.
These things are.
Oh, well, no, but I've had they were all colonels or lieutenant colonels, my friends, and I have a, for example, I was with 6 people one night, 6 witnesses. We had 3 very expensive cameras, and none of them worked. None of them would focus. But there was a craft on the ground being repaired, and there were lights flying around it. And
who was repairing it?
Well, the lights were. We all saw it. We had binoculars. We watched it. It was only about a quarter of a mile away. And the light, it looked like it had been, at 5 o'clock, the disc, it looked like it had been, we thought it had been hit by a missile. So anyway, these lights were repairing it. So a friend of mine went down there, and it got within, his high beams got on it. He had a 4-wheel drive. So it started to pulse. And these UFOs, when they start to pulse, they're getting ready to shoot. I've had it happen many times, long story. But a friend of mine is an Air Force colonel, and I said, Ron, what do you think? And he said, it wasn't one of ours. If it was, there would be attack helicopters all around it and guys on the ground with machine guns.
So you're telling me that you're in touch with people in the military,
yes,
who actually know
they're all retired now.
Because this is an allegation that a former intelligence officer, David Grush, only made in 2023.
Yeah, right.
That the US is in possession of non-human technology.
Yeah.
Now you realise the Pentagon has formally denied that they've got any possession of any such technology. You think that's a lie? Yes.
Until they're caught red-handed with evidence, they're going to continue to deny it.
Why would they deny it?
Well, the explanation was given to me that if people knew that an extraterrestrial race was real, they were really here, and they are. I've met 3. Then our government, the U.S. government, would be powerless against these. There'd be another power, a higher power than the government, and the government doesn't want to lose their influence, their control.
Now, it's my job at this point to be doubtful. You realise?
Oh, sure.
I mean, there's no evidence of that, is there?
No. Well, if there is, it's been disappeared. If there is evidence, one of my better friends was an Army colonel, and he investigated 6 crashes, like Roswell. And he knew of 5 others that he investigated. He showed me the evidence, the photographs, the witnesses. This is a guy that got witness. It's Colonel Wendell Stevens. He's famous. He was one of my best friends, and so
he was one of the early Blue Book people, wasn't he? Yeah.
Well, yeah. And then Bob Dean, Sergeant Major Bob Dean. He was one of my best friends, and those 2 guys between them. They had some phenomenal, real experiences.
Colonel Wendell Stevens, was he telling you that the United States was in possession of non-human craft?
Yes. Oh, yes.
So he told you that directly?
Yes. Because he was directly involved in several. He said there was a string. The first one was Roswell, and there were a string of them that went up to Kingman, Arizona. There were about 5 crashes. And he was directly involved in the last one, and it was actually near Kingman.
Secrets have a way of wriggling out into the open, Tom.
Right, they do.
I'm trained to be skeptical about these kind of claims, because the military very rarely keeps a secret. It invariably leaks. Doesn't it?
Well, yeah, but nobody believes it. You know, Bill Cooper. Bill Cooper was famous, and he was President Clinton called him America's enemy #1 because he was telling the truth. Bill Cooper. So I mean, he couldn't prove it, but everybody, he was a hero to many people, and then he cost him his life. He got.
But really, at the heart of all of this, Tom, apart from what I guess a lot of people would call hearsay, you know, you've been told things by people who say they know things. There's no hard evidence, is there?
Well, I'm going to say this here. I've said this to audiences so many times. If the world could see what I've seen with my eyes, and I've had cameras, video cameras in my hand, I was so shocked that I forgot that I had a camera in my hand afterwards.
And what were you looking at?
Unusual things that my brain couldn't understand, couldn't explain.
Craft?
Various things. There's, I'm trying to think of an example.
Well, what are the craziest things you've seen? Tell me some.
Well, the only one I can remember offhand is I was visiting a friend in Washington State near Mount Adams, and there was a strange light on the mountain. It was always there, flying around, and it came down. It came off the mountain, and it was right in front of me. And I had a Sony camera in my hand, and this thing was so strange. I'm thinking, what in the hell is that thing? And by the time I said, well, it must be a street light, because the wind was blowing hard, so I figured it must be a street light, and the winds were, it was moving, but it was really actually moving. So I asked the man that lived there, I said, what's the deal with that? Is there a street light down there at night and whatever? He said, no, there's nothing there. He said, that thing came off the mountain probably because you were there, and I had a Sony camera right in my hand. I could have filmed the whole thing. I didn't.
All right, you guys, what do you think about that? Do you think these lights were repairing the ship? Do you think this guy's credible? He makes some astonishing claims. You guys need to watch the whole video. Go check it out, you guys, if you'd like. Like I said, everything will be linked down below. I don't know, man. And even he says himself, I had a camera on me. I just didn't record it because everything was just so. He was just fascinated with what he was seeing. I find that a bit curious. I don't know how much of what he's saying is credible, because apparently there's been more. If you guys watch the whole video, there's been a couple occasions, more than once, more than twice, that he had a camera on him and he just did not record it. So this is just me. If I had a camera on me, you bet your ass I'm recording this. You know what I mean? Especially something like this. So I don't know. Take it for what you will. You guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.